We started in 2006 as a grassroots organization, just the two of us. We work, initially we had a project going in Iraq, but things became quite untenable to work in Iraq, and we are totally in Jordan now. So our work consists in people to people. Our work is now totally in Jordan with Iraqi refugees. And we provide micro projects for cottage industries type.
And the reason we do that is because Iraqis living as non-residents, illegal residents of Jordan as refugees are not allowed to work.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mary, just had to interject that.
We also provide in addition to micro projects, we provide emergency assistance in the way of food, maybe temporary rent if they're behind in rent, help with prescription if they can't pay for medications, basically crisis intervention type of things. And our purpose really is to facilitate mutually respectful relations between Americans or people of coalition countries and Iraqi, those who have been devastated by the invasion and occupation, and building peace between our people, and answering the question of what can we do as individuals. And Sasha's going to tell something about our work and more about the organization.
Well, first I want to talk about the financial situation for Iraqi refugees. 1 in 5, and you'll see this in the film, but I think it's a really important number and to be able to get a grasp on the scope of this problem. 1 in 5 Iraqis, the total population is approximately 25 million in Iraq. 1 in 5 are displaced, either inside of Iraq or have fled to other countries. Most of the people who fled were the academics, the well-educated, and Iraq had a free education system under their sovereign government for men and women through university. So you had a highly professional population who had a very high standard of living for the most part, and most of these people fled with the sectarian violence that targeted academics, and we can talk more about why that happened.
Were they allowed to learn anything that they wanted, or was that limited by the government?
Oh, no. The only thing that was limited by the government was dissension against the government. You know. Sure, and Iraq is Saddam too promoted education in Iraq and provided scholarships for many of its citizens to go abroad to get their educations too, though their education system in Iraq was the highest standard in the region. Their literacy rate was, well over 50%, including. Well, Iraq was very open until after the Gulf War. And so, yes, its citizens had the right to, I don't know how much material they could bring into Iraq. I don't know what the situation was like before the sanctions. But after the Gulf War, the U.S., the United Nations, with pressure from the U.S., imposed sanctions, or it's also called the embargo. So we didn't allow the import. We weren't allowed to do business with Iraq. And it also meant we weren't allowed to import into Iraq from abroad medicines, medical journals, equipment, pencil lead, because all of these things were supposedly somehow could lead to them building weapons of mass destruction. It was brutal, and 50,000, was it 50,000? 50,000 children died. 500,000. Yeah, 500,000. I always get these numbers mixed up. So during sanctions, the government of Iraq restricted travel outside the country too, and it became a very closed society. And I think, it's like Syria now. Syria is very wary of Westerners coming in. We went there last year, and we weren't even allowed to talk to Iraqis because there's so much fear that we're provocateurs from America, spies or agents working to cause upheaval. But yeah, it was a very open society, and when I went to Baghdad just before the invasion in 2003, as an activist standing against the war. And I was shocked to see women driving cars, women for the most part wearing Western clothing, very modest because they're Muslim, holding high positions, equal with males in professions. It's a very, very advanced nation. And so anyway, what's happened now with, like I said, 1 in 5 Iraqis have been displaced. The infrastructure was destroyed. They no longer, they left with a suitcase. This is basically all they could leave with. And many of them thought it would only be for a few months. During the height of the violence in 2005, we saw a real, I hate to use the word now because it has such a bad connotation, but surge and violence, and surge also in those fleeing. And so they're living in third countries, or second countries. They cannot work there legally. They have to rely on charity. When we're talking about, close to 3 million people living in countries that don't have enough resources to care for their own citizens, we're looking at people living with much less than what's adequate to take care of their basic needs. The UNHCR, which is the United Nations High Commission on Refugees, is the UN body that deals with refugees internationally, through donor funds from all the nations, provides for a large number of Iraqi refugees in Jordan a monthly cash grant. But it's so minimal. A family of 4 would get approximately $225 US. And so this is inadequate to pay rent, food, medicine, medical cares needs are not taken care of either for the most part, especially diseases where there's such high incidences. Almost every family has diabetes, high blood pressure, heart conditions, thyroid conditions. Cancer has skyrocketed. This is probably due to our use of chemical weaponry and depleted uranium in Iraq, but also stress. But there's not enough funds to cover for care for these people, so people are dying.
Why do they have diabetes?
It's interesting, and maybe it's a cultural thing, and there's probably a great deal of truth to it, but when I talk to families, they'll say, my husband was killed in front of my eyes, and the shock of it gave me diabetes. Or, they attribute, and the doctors will say this too, that a trauma will shock the body into manifesting a disease. And I believe there's some degree, at least, of truth in this. Yeah, and they're understressed, undernourished, overstressed, undernourished, and without the resources to take care of their families. So, what we're going to do is we're going to show a film that I put together. This is my first attempt at making a film, and it looks like a first attempt, so I ask you to forgive me in advance. Before I do that, I want to talk about our name. We're Collateral Repair Project, and that's in response to the term collateral damage, which is such a broad term. And what it actually means by dictionary standards is, or by dictionary definition is, where is it? Oh, we don't have it in here. It's, those that are harmed unintentionally by war. We consider ourselves to be sort of like Google Earth. Are you familiar with that program on your computer where you're out in space and you see the Earth? It's this beautiful green and blue ball with clouds floating over it. And then you can zoom in and you can see your street. You can find your house on your street and your car parked in your driveway and your trash can at your curb. What we try to do with our work is to not only bring assistance to these victims of our foreign policy, but to also make them, show you each one, to make them real, to show you their humanity. And so that's sort of why we use that term. So anyway, we're going to show the video. And then afterwards, we'll talk a little bit about the sectarian violence and division you hear about in Iraq, because there's so many misconceptions about that. And I think it's really important to understand what's going on there, what will be going on in the future, and about what our government's doing, and especially with Iran, too. We'll discuss that a little bit, and we'll also do some question and answer. We should be glad to talk to you about many aspects of this problem. Before the video begins, it's interviews with 4 people. The first one is Ali. who is a man who's a father of 4, and he's going to talk about the challenges that he faces working as an undocumented worker. And some things he's not going to say, but Iraqis cannot work. The police are constantly out looking, doing raids, much as we're doing in this nation now, and arresting people. Arrest can mean jail. It could mean being forced back into Iraq, which is a death sentence for many of these people because the threats that face them there are still there. And also it brings up another area of exploitation because Iraqis are very, very susceptible, vulnerable to exploitation. And Ali will talk about a situation where he was exploited. But what happens if they're imprisoned, if they can find a Jordanian citizen to be their sponsor, then this person will say basically, well, I'll make sure they don't get into trouble and they don't work illegally anymore. Well, these people just aren't coming out of the woodwork. This is a way to make money. So then these families are blackmailed into paying whatever under the table little deal they work out monthly out of income they don't have. And if they can't come up with this money, then Jordanians can make problems for them. Iraqis who are victims of crime, women who didn't wear hijab when they lived in Iraq, the headscarf, will wear it in Jordan because they want to make themselves as non-sexual as possible, because if they're targeted for sexual harassment, rape, they will be blamed and they'll be sent back to Iraq. So Ali's going to talk about exploitation. Then we're going to go to Salwa, who's the mother of 4 children. She's a Sabian Mandai religion, and so it's very close to Christianity in some ways. The people, Christians and the Sabian Mandai have been targeted tremendously because of the sectarian militias out of Iran. Her husband was killed with her 6-year-old in the car with him. She'll talk about that and her situation. This is going to be a kind of a rough video. I tried to subtitle it all and got sick of the whole thing and just went to our very bad interpretations. So again, bear with me on that. As I said, many Iraqis were professionals. The next person that you'll see is Samira. She was in like the cutting edge of the arts in Iraq. She owned the Baghdad Gallery. She was, worked for the Ministry of Information and promoting Iraq's cultural treasures. And so you're going to see her sitting in this very opulent setting and talking about her losses. The setting she's in is her only surviving son. She had 3 sons, apartment in Amman. He did have money. So please understand that when you're seeing this, she's lost everything she had. She doesn't get assistance from us, or didn't get assistance from us, but her loss is still tremendous. The next one will be a couple, Sana and Saleh. And Sana actually worked with us for a while until our budget decreased with the dip in contributions this past year because of our economic situation. They're also living in an apartment, certainly not as opulent as Samira's, that they have only because a relative happened to own it and is letting them stay there. So some of these people, their situation, you look at them and say, oh, that's not too bad. But, and they may have it better than some, but it's still, they have nothing. And the last one is just a clip of a woman who we got a micro project for. We bought her an industrial sewing machine, a very poor Iraqi woman, but her message is really great. And so I'm hoping that, you'll be as touched as we were by that. Okay?
ديل اللون يا الولد يا ابني ديل اللون عدو حزين وساكن
work in Iraq in trust. We make deal without paper in Iraq, but here in Jordan, you must make anything with a paper. Although in Jordan, if you have a residency, you can work, but if you don't have, you can't work. Not all the people in Jordan is bad, but maybe 15% is not good. I'm working in house in Jordan. Any house, maybe I come to work in it, but I don't know what is this man is good or not good. So that I'm work and hard work. When I'm finished, he said, okay, take this half money, and again 1 month again you can come to me and I will pay you. That I can't make anything. The deal is deal, but they in them side they do not agree the deal. So that I come after a month and ask him the other part
the
of
rest
money,
of, yeah,
but he refused. He said, okay, come another month. So month and forget the money, so I can't bring it. I work with someone in Khalda. This man, I make everything in his home. When we finished, the light man come to work and become وسخ الحائط, come
dirt.
dirt.
There's some dirt on the wall.
Okay, and I'm back the work again. So the whom work the doors, paint the doors, again make a problem in walls. So I'm back again to paint it. When I go to Khalda and back, I pay 7 dinar in a taxi. 3.5 go, 3.5 back. 7 dinar. I'm work there equal to 26 days. And when I finish, I'm finished. I told him, okay, give me my money. He said, okay, you can come again 1 week again. I have no money now. Okay, 1 week. And go after 1 week. He said, no, you can come tomorrow at evening. Okay, I have no money to go and back, go and back. Okay, I have 220 dinar with him. Pay me 200 and you can take the 20 dinar, but I should finish from you. He said, no, there's somebody work here in the flat, and you must repaint the walls. Okay, I said, okay, give me the money, give me some money to bring method to bring paint, to paint the wall. No, you can pay from your pocket and I will pay you. I said, I can't, I haven't money. I show him my pocket, I haven't money. He pay me 40 dinar, and say, you can sell the tent and finish your work and I will pay you. When I sell it and finish, every time I phone him, he's not ما يرد على الاتصال.
Did not answer.
Did not answer my phone. I go to him at home and knock his door. His wife appeared. And I told her, I want my money, I'm finished everything. She said, okay, talk to my husband in telephone. I'm talking to telephone. He said, why you come to my flat, to my wife? You are not good man. Why you speak to my wife? What? I will bring the police for you. Why you come to my house? You can speak with me in phone. Go. If you don't go, I will ask the police to take you, so that I can't make anything. I'm back with no money. Police asked me how many years you have in Jordan. I have no passport, and I'm trying to have a passport from Iraqi embassy, but they not give me. So that I have no passport, I have no residence card. I can't work, I can't live like others. I don't know what I will do because I am illegal. Where is your card? Residency card. If I have no residence card, they will back me. And this situation hurt me and hurt my family. Pay for the bus to bus school and rent flat and food and more things. I should pay and life like the others, but I'm trying too much to help myself and my family to life like others, but I can't spend any money. I don't have a future for our self, for my kids, for anything. I'm also sometimes I think tomorrow will be dark, not good, and tomorrow maybe I'm go to Iraq. The police maybe shout me out Jordan, maybe make anything. Any Jordanian can make problem with me, but I can't make problem with them. say no. I can't say no. And this word no should be said in some time. You should say no, but if you can't, that means you are not free man.
Iraqi artist. I graduated from Baghdad University, Business Administration. I took BA. And then I took diploma from Institute of Fine Arts. Then I work in Ministry of Foreign Affairs as a second secretary, a diplomat. Then I transferred to the Ministry of Information as a director of Museum of Modern Art. I run so many galleries for the government. I established my own gallery named Baghdad Gallery. It was a very high standard, and I present only for abstract paintings. Then my gallery was #1. We have an embargo. So when the delegations come to my gallery, they saw that it's different because I told them that the embargo, it's not only dead children or no food or hunger, but this is another side of civilization in Iraq. So of course they are surprised and astonished that, oh, they said, unbelievable, it's not in Iraq. You can let us live that an atmosphere, it's not in Iraq. So of course I was very proud of my gallery. That's like a small center for giving lectures about arts and critics and fine arts. Of course, the embargo that we were living with during Saddam regime, of course, it's effect for all our life, in health, in economy, in everything. But I can say, except the art movement. The art movement was glooming in this period because the American, they cannot catch the creative of the artist, because the creative points inside of the artist, so they cannot catch it. When they come, the American, of course they destroyed everything. They destroyed the people, the human being, the Iraqi human being. They destroyed the soul, the spirit of them. Of course, they destroyed even, you know, the museum. One of the most important cultural monument, can we say, for Iraqi, the museum. It's still old. They let all the people, they bombed the museum and let the people go inside and stole. You know that, and we heard all, that all the archaeology or the old things and our civilization in this building, it goes to Paris and to all Europe. And we heard that about that. So it's a plan. It was a plan that they want to destroy our civilization, which is, you know, that Iraqi is the first country that eventual that the alphabetism that in Baghdad, in Iraq, they destroyed it. And Yeah, this is America. I escaped. I left Baghdad, which is my country. I am sick of my country, of Iraq. I am sick of loving Iraq, you see. But after when they enter Baghdad, of the occupation of Baghdad, of Iraq, of course they were against all the intellectual people. My gallery, 2 times bombed by the rockets and crushed. All the paintings are destroyed, all the statue, everything, the glasses, everything is finished. So I have to start from zero. After that, they came all 3 times to my house. And of course they are looking for, and I don't know what are they looking for. When they come, they see my paintings and they see all, the house is not a normal house. They ask, who is the owner? My son was here. He told him my mother is an artist and she have his own gallery. But they go up and down and make like this and everything crushed. Always we are threatened because we were, as I told you, intellectual. So they are against, they don't want people that in a good personality, good shape, good everything, they don't want. That's why, so the Iraqi people, the intellectual people, they go abroad. I have no place there. Even I'm threatened there. It's not easy here, you see, but it's not easy to stay. We are suffering to get it, really. After that, I am thinking to go abroad, to go to Sweden, which is more easier to receive us. And they are very generous to Iraqi people because they appreciate that we are living in such abnormal environment, abnormal atmosphere, abnormal things that we faced. Of course, I left my house full of antiques, full of art things, full of my memory from I was a child, and I left everything. And my gallery, I lost it, it's bombed, and all the paintings, my property there, our farm, our houses, we left and we took just few clothes and we came. And I start here from zero. We have the house, we sold it, and we come and live with this few money, and it's finished. We are suffering, and now suffering, and in future, it's an unknown future for us. Let us live in peace and security.
I lived in Baghdad, a very beautiful life, with a childhood, very beautiful one. And I finished education there, even my college in there. I specialized as a statistician, right? So I had the chance to work after college in the Ministry of Planning. Everything was beautiful in Iraq. After that, it happens. Recession, it destroyed everything, our dreams and what we planned for the So we suffered for 12 years in session, and after that, on the year of the 2003, it happens, the invasion of America to Iraq. That makes it, everything is finished. Nobody can imagine what happened we are, our family, one of the people who left Iraq because we have, I had faced
I'm Dr. Engineer Saleh Al-Baisi. I'm professor in laser system design and electro-optic. I born in Basra. I raised in Basra actually. I finished my primary, secondary schools, and then I got my BSc from Basra University. Then I transferred my family to Baghdad. My work moved from Basra to Baghdad. I worked in University of Baghdad. I granted a scholarship from the Iraqi government to have a BSc and to have the MSc and the PhD in laser system design and technology. So I left in 1976 to the United Kingdom to graduate study. I got my MSc from Manchester University Institute of Science and Technology. I managed to get my PhD in 2 years instead of 3, and started my career to work in the universities as a lecturer. I worked in lecturing and doing research. I managed to supervise 35 MST projects. We were trying to raise our children in good, and we want them to live very good life and very educated life. After the Iraqi government invaded Kuwait and the sanctions started by pushing, by the American government pushing the UN to do so, everything in Iraq ruined, the health and everything. You can imagine that most of the hospitals without medicines, and the children get dead because they don't have the antibiotic or even the simple medication to live on. And you can imagine that the salary of the official people get very down. You can imagine that the salary of a professor in the university comes to $10 a month. Before the siege, your salary is at least $500 a month, and then your salary dropped down to $10 a month. So you can live on $10 a month. Like the teachers in the primary schools, they earn $3 a month. Every 3 months, they go to the bank and take $3, which at these $3, they can't even buy 1 pound of potato. The literacy raised and raised until we reached about 50% of the Iraqi people. They don't know to read or write. They should go to schools, primary schools. Instead of that, they go to the market to work. Because, as I said, the salary is $1 or $2 or $3 a month, so they have to work to make their families live. That actually, through the siege or the sanction, as I said, which started in 1990 up to the 2003, when the American government invaded Iraq, and the people, they accept that, saying that the American government toppled the Saddam regime down, and everybody will get his freedom. A short period after the 2003, everything is turned down. There is no democracy, there is no freedom. Freedom in the right way of freedom. And after we been occupied by the American government, is every people being killed, the sectarian started, and they are, we were lived, all of us, Muslim or Christian or even Jewish in Iraq, nobody make any difference between all of us. Even the Muslim people killing each other, and most of the Sunni people being fled from Iraq because the militia, they started to kill all the Sunnis. I took my family and leave Iraq because I've been threatened 3 times to leave Iraq in 24 hours. Within 24 hours, what things you can't take with you? You can't take anything, just your very simple things. I left there in Iraq, my houses. I'm now without work. I was looking for a work since we came to Jordan. I was looking everywhere. Every day I go out looking here and there. I haven't got any opportunity. In Iraq, I was working and I earned enough money to raise my family and to let them live in very good and high standard. My family consists of me and my wife, Sana Al-Bahir. She's going to talk about herself.
I graduated from Stanford University, College of Administration and Statistic Department. For that, a very beautiful childhood in Baghdad. And after I got graduated from the college, I got married with my husband, and we had 4 children. We came back to Baghdad and we lived a very nice, lovely life with our kids. We have our own house, which is, I think it was my kingdom, because it was really lovely. I had everything beautiful in it that I had chosen in England. I brought it back with me, and we had a very beautiful life. Sanction happened 1991, and it continues all these years till, say, 2003. We still, at the beginning, had a very nice life, but it started to be strongly affecting us in everything. Feeling then and living a very bad situation. We had a very hard time. Everything should be done at home because we cannot afford buy things from outside. It is there. We cannot afford buying it. It was too expensive. We haven't been really get used to such hard work because we lived a very nice, wealthy, happy life. But sanction had made these families who lived in a wealthy way to become like this. So nobody could really think how hard it was then. Your kids sometimes need something, even fruits, there is none. You cannot afford buying it because it was very expensive, either it wasn't there in the market. So it was very hard for us. Came the war on 2003 in a very hard life of getting everything in a hard way. But killing people, you are not safe in your house, you are not safe in the street you walk in, you are not safe when you go to work, or safe to go to college, or sending your kids to the school. That's why we left Baghdad, because I had been facing a kidnapping attempt, and I was dragged in the street. I lost my leg and my hand, you know, it was affected at that, in this accident, a very big operation. We cannot afford this. And my husband had been threatened for 3 times. That was the reason for us to go out. And that was the last time we had seen Baghdad. I left 2 houses in Baghdad. All these 2 houses full of furnitures. All of it, I got it with me from England. I left it there. They burnt my house. They stolen my house. So you could imagine if I went back there, I have no house at all. And we left everything there, family, houses, friends, and all the sweet memories in Baghdad.
It's an area in Baghdad called Karkh. That's specifically where they're from. فيهم أشياء كانت تصير خلال الحرب لما بتقولي إنه تعبتوا الأوضاع زي إيش شو الأوضاع. There was a lot of kidnapping. We couldn't go to school. There was a lot of raping of women.
يعني الشاب ما يقدر أنا مثل ابني لازم يسوي له لحية ويلزم له سبحة. يلا يصير.
An individual like my son would have to grow a beard and act very religious. There's no freedom. People are just oppressed. Over here my daughters aren't able to go to school. But in Iraq they wouldn't be able to go to school and they'd be subject to humiliation and maybe... You can never take care of your kids, and the word she used meant respect dignity and a woman's pride when it comes to her, you know, body. We left from Baghdad to Karbala and we saw it was even worse. And then we came from Karbala to They told us that Karbala would be safe. But we saw it even worse. We're full, she's the word, we're full of hatred and pain and, you know, being tired. I'm full of it. Yeah. They said then a famous quote they would keep saying is that if you're not with us then you're against us. And she said so what we would do is lock our doors and just stay at home, and that's not life. In Iraq, we never had this separation between Sunni and Shia. We've never seen it before. Never, ever, ever. Our Shia daughters are married to our Sunni sons, and our Sunni daughters are married to our Shia sons. Before the war, we were happy, we were comfortable. Yes, our financial state has always been difficult, but now it's much more difficult. In Iraq, it's so expensive, you cannot live. Before the war, our biggest problem was that we weren't able to leave Iraq as much unless you're a soldier and you're going to war.
ناس شوي قامت مثلا تتحرك الحكومة مالتنا هي الأولانية أحسن من هاي بس لو متصرفين صح احنا ما صار بينا هيك.
She says our government, our past government before the current one, is better if you like it or not. It's reality, but it's an educated government, and they knew what was going on, but they were treating the people wrong.
ضلينا على للحايم والعمايم كلهم كل شيء ما يفتهمون لا يقرون ولا يكتبون صاروا وزراء.
She says now the corruption is so obvious.
محافظين اكو محافظ العمارة لا يقرأ ولا يكتب الناس تعرفه.
Corruption is so obvious that when you look at ministers who cannot read or write and have become ministers and presidents, there's something wrong over there. 3,000 scholars
3,000 عالم بالعراق.
in Iraq.
وينهم؟
Where are they now?
وين العلماء؟ ولا عالم ضل بالعراق. كلهم شردوا للدول.
All the educated ones left.
إذا يشوفون عالم يقتلوه. إذا يشوفون دكتور يقتلوه. إذا يشوفون مهندس يقتلوه.
يقتلوه means kill him. So if they see any
يعني ضد العلم يعني يريدون ينشرون الجهل ينشرون التخلف ينشرون.
They want backwardness to spread. When the Americans first came in, we welcomed them with flowers. Us Iraqis have clean hearts and we welcome people.
والله العظيم يعني هو بغض النظر إنه إحنا الاحتلال وعلى العيش.
Regardless of occupation or whatever, we still respect people. It's a nation that's respectful and sweet. We don't kill. We used to sleep with our windows open and our doors open. No problem.
شعب طيب الآخر درجة. اجوا واستغلوا الوضع ماكو حكومة ماكو جيش.
Certain people came and realized that there's no government and there's chaos and they took advantage.
ما حد ساعدهم. ظل الشعب تايه يعني.
No one helped them and the nation itself was lost. After all this chaos, we said we had to leave. And we're all brothers and sisters. We are all nations that were created from one father and one mother.
حرام تصير التفرقة يعني حتى لو الشعوب يعني عندنا مثل يقول بنت الشرق البنت لبن الغرب بالعراق.
In Iraq, there's a saying that says, "The daughter of the east marries the son of the west." And there's no such thing as this concept of separation. We're all one. We came from one father and one mother.
والله العظيم يعني كل احنا من اب واحد وام واحدة.
One father, one mother.
يعني لا يصيب امريكا شيء يقهرها احنا من يمنا نلقاه.
Anytime there's something painful that hurts our brothers and sisters in America, we feel that pain because we're all humans.
والله العظيم. والله لا كل احنا الله خلقنا بشر.
God created us all humans.
لا أنا خلقتش ولا أنت خلقتيني الله سبحانه وتعالى خلق.
God the Almighty created us all.
وجعل هاي الناس كلها شعوبا وقبائل.
And He created us nations and tribes to live amongst each other. And this is exactly what our Quran says.
بإرادته الكريم. وخلى ألسنتنا مختلفة.
And He created our tongues to speak different languages.
وأب واحد.
And we're all of one mother and one father.
دي لله يا الولد يا ابني دي لله عدو حزين ساكن
Several people in this interview talk about the Shia militias, and it sounds as though it's a discrimination or a bigotry against Shia. What they're talking about, what most of us, I didn't know, and what most of us here don't know, is that many things happened with the U.S. invasion of Iraq. One of them was Iraq, prior to the invasion, had very secure borders. There had been long time animosity between Iraq and Iran, which had played out in 10 years of war and the loss of over 1 million lives on both sides. But Iran has always had its imperialistic interest in Iraq and Iraq's oil wealth. And also, the majority, Shia and Sunni, are both Muslims. It's sort of like the difference, I think, we can explain between maybe Catholics and Baptists. You know, there was a split at one time, and so they have some different ideas about mostly succession of who followed Muhammad in succession. In Iran, they're majority Shia, and it happens to be pretty fundamentalist, and why is a conversation for another day. And so where Iraq was very liberal, Saddam, the government of Iraq took pride in being very secular, non-religious. Now what happened when we invaded this country is we opened the borders wide open, our government was very well aware, I'm sure, of the risks that this was going to put on this country and what was going to follow. So you have Iran basically invading, especially in the south. They came into the south, which had a majority of Shia anyway, and they formed these militias, and the militias are the ones who targeted the intellectuals, who the ones who started, as one of the women said, killing women for not wearing hijab or not wearing socks, this sort of thing, which forced the academics to leave, anybody who could afford to leave. These people left, many of them thinking they were only going to leave for a few months. They took what they had with them. Many of them, because they were professionals, had savings, or they were able to sell their home. And they initially lived on this money, but now they can't return home. Their savings are completely depleted. And these are people whose life was very much like ours is here. You know, they had a high standard of living. People like Emma, the last woman, her family had been fairly impoverished in Iraq, and now outside. What we're seeing, and this is an important point, is among those who are impoverished but have the resources to be able to afford to leave, so they're not one of the 2.5 million displaced inside. They also have better coping skills, because those of us who have been very poor tend to find community, we find resources, we share those resources. But among people who had never had to really struggle in this kind of way, they don't know how to do it. They're embarrassed, so they don't open up to anyone else to form that kind of community. Yeah. And they tend to be isolated from one another because they don't know who to trust anymore. It's been devastating in every way. But this is, I think, what's hardest now is seeing the way it's affected the mental health. Iraqis had always really impressed me with their resilience and their ability to carry their sense of humor after all of this. And warm, funny, brilliant people. But now I'm seeing them losing this.